Hello everyone and welcome to Wrestling Ramblings. This is kind of like a part 2 to episode 1. My name is Terry Speller, I am the wrestling superfan, and the reason I thought I'd just do a part 2 is there was a few things that I remembered and also read about after I'd finished episode 1. First of all, and most importantly, was the rumour that I heard. The rumour I heard was that John Cena was going to wanted to face Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 30. Well, it would appear that what my ramblings about Hogan's physical condition were kind of true, because it would seem that the latest idea discussed would see Hogan team with John Cena and Daniel Bryan against the Wyatt family. The feeling within WWE is that Hogan will not pass the required company physical and will not be cleared to wrestle. However, he might be cleared to participate in a 6-man tag match where his physical role would be very limited. Well, it goes, basically, I was right. It looks like Hogan is just in no fit state to wrestle at all, ever again, properly. However, they're quite happy to stick him in a 6-man tag match where he will spend half the time, or most of the match, on the apron, letting Daniel Bryan, who's the superior wrestler out of all of them, do all the work, and John Cena come in to get John Cena's pop. And then Hogan will come in, probably do a few punches, maybe a big boot, and then the big boot will then follow up with either the top rope missile drop kick from Bryan or the attitude adjustment from Cena. I highly doubt Hogan will have it in him to do an atomic leg drop, and also this gives him the way out of doing an atomic leg drop, because you've got two other guys there to do the finisher. And Hogan gets the pop, and they all do the pose down at the end. So there you go. That's one of the rumours. That's the discussion that's been discussed at the moment in WWE apparently. And to be perfectly honest, that's a way out of doing it that I didn't think of, and might work. Would get the pop required. Hogan doesn't get to do much, and another added bonus to this is Cena isn't a main event. He'd be part of a marquee match, but he isn't main event, which means that he might not be a champion, which would be fantastic. Not having Cena as a main event would be fantastic, and a well-deserved break. The downside to this is Daniel Bryan would be left in a 6-man tag, where he wouldn't be able to showcase everything he has to offer, and he is a fantastic wrestler and could carry WrestleMania on his shoulders. But unfortunately, I highly doubt he'll ever get the chance to do so, or at least not in the foreseeable future. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to talk about was when I was talking about UK wrestlers, and to one word, wrestlers in the Southwest. And to be perfectly honest, I mentioned 3 names that sprang straight to mind. It was only after I'd finished and edited and put it up, the episode 1, that I realised actually there's a few more names I could think of off the top of my head, and they deserve to be mentioned just as much as the 3 I already have. So I'm going to mention them now. One guy in particular who, off the top of my head, straight away, a guy called Eddie Ryan. The English Lion, Eddie Ryan. He can work face and heel, and he is a fantastic worker. He's got a kind of Japanese style, proper tech wrestler, and fantastic main eventer. So he's another guy who you need to look out for. He does a lot of stuff up country, but he's also working currently for PWA down in the Southwest. Another guy, or 2 guys, they're brothers, Danny Walsh and Mark Walsh. Mark Walsh currently goes under the name of Chris Marvel and is the PWA champion at the moment. He's the smaller of the 2 brothers, however he is a fantastic wrestler, and he's got great chemistry and can come across as a real douchebag heel. It's fantastic, and he's got so much potential. Danny Walsh has been a main eventer in the Southwest scene and in wrestling full stop in the British wrestling scene for years. Both brothers have got bags of potential. Danny Walsh has been champion pretty much in nearly every company he's been in so far, and Mark Walsh is right behind him on that rung of getting more championships. He's got his first top championship, and it's just a matter of time before he gets more. And I can see Danny Walsh progressing, and Danny Walsh is actually currently the owner of a company in the Southwest called LEP. Great little promotion. I believe they mainly run out of Brixham at the moment, but they are expanding, and they also have a training school. and I was privileged enough to be asked and was able to be an MC on their first show, and the privilege was completely mine, and the honour was all mine to do it, because he let me introduce and be the MC for his match, Danny Walsh's match against Sabu, which is a fantastic match. And there's not many people who get the chance to stand in the ring with Sabu and get to say the death-defying, suicidal, homicidal, genocidal man they called Sabu. There is not many people who get to stand in the ring and utter those words. And I tell you what, I'm an MC. I'm not a wrestler. God knows the adrenaline that goes through a wrestler's body when they're in the match, but I got such a buzz being able to announce that match, and that's something I'll always tip my hat off and say thank you to Danny Walsh for letting me do. So yeah, the Walshes, Mark Walsh, Danny Walsh, fantastic tag. They are a tag team as well as singles wrestlers, and fantastic as well. Another guy who runs his own promotion called Pride. His name's Darren Xavier. He runs his promotion fantastically. I mean, they are coming up so well. The production values are amazing. Their internet content is second to none at the moment. So keep an eye on Pride, and also Darren Xavier is their top. I believe he's their top guy, or one of their in the top brackets. But he's also the owner of the company, and he's also someone to watch out for. Another guy also works exclusively, I think, or extensively for Pride, but also for occasional other company as well. Is a guy called Ultimo Tiger, a great up and comer. A good high flyer, good technical guy, another guy to look out for. I'm going to be a bit biased here, and I apologise to people out there who will say I'm a bit biased, because he's my boss to a degree. John Harding. The guy is a great tech wrestler. He's also a trainer, and a very good trainer as well. He's been taught by nearly everyone on the UK scene, and he's been around for 12 years, I think it is. And John Harding is a great wrestler. He can do tech and he can do high flying. He's just a good all-around wrestler, and he can have some fantastic matches. And if you get to see a match with John Harding versus UK Dominator, there's something to just sit and enjoy. If you want to watch and take notes of how to put a match together, if you want the complete textbook wrestling match of heel versus face, what to do, what not to do, everything, watch a John Harding versus UK Dominator match. It is like reading the A to Z of wrestling. It's something great to watch and behold. So yeah, John Harding, but unfortunately I think, as far as I'm aware at the moment, he's hurt his knee, so he might not be able to wrestle for a few months. Don't hold me to that, this is just something I've heard. And yeah, I have to say it because he's also my boss. Another guy who is also part of a tag team is a guy called Nick Riley. Nick Riley, I saw have a last man standing match with PJ Jones at a DCW event, and they didn't just tear the roof off, they set it on fire and ripped and spat on it afterwards. It was a fantastic match. PJ ended up getting busted open halfway through the match after Nick forced PJ's head into some stairs. The match ended with Nick Riley delivering a top rope powerbomb to PJ Jones, and PJ couldn't answer the count of 10. It was a fantastic match. It was one of those matches that I said in episode 1 that you watch. I think I said in episode 1, I can't remember. But anyway, it's one of those matches you watch and you sit there, and no matter how much you might know about wrestling, you will sit there and you'll forget that it's fake. You'll forget that it's all predetermined. You'll forget that you've just been probably out back talking to both guys. You'll forget all that, and you'll sit there and you'll find yourself jumping out of your seat and popping every time you need to, and every time something happens. You'll forget that it's all predetermined, you'll forget about all of that, and you'll become a fan all over again. And that match was one of them. And Nick Riley was a face in that match, and PJ Jones was the heel. But that's one thing. But now Nick Riley is now a heel. He turned and is now a heel, and he's with a group of two other guys. One is Big Daddy Bainsley. I cannot for the life of me, and I apologise wholeheartedly that I cannot remember the name of the other guy, because I've never actually watched the other guy wrestle. All I've ever seen is Nick Riley and Big Daddy Bainsley. I've only ever seen those two wrestle. I've never seen the third guy, but they are under the name of the Magnums, one of the sleaziest tag teams out there. Leopard print trunks and sticking their crotch in everyone's face, doesn't it? It's just they are the sleaziest tag team out there at the moment, and one of the sleaziest gimmicks, and it's getting over with the crowd so well, and people are booing them, and at the same time they're liking them at the same time, which is fantastic. When you have that mixture of people love to hate you, and when you do something you make them laugh and they go, actually, yeah, that was pretty sleazy but funny with it, and they're doing a fantastic job. So anyway, yeah, this is me saying sorry to anyone sorry if I've forgotten now your names, and I apologise. I'm just giving you the list of a few names off the top of my head that I think are people to look out for, people to watch, and if you see them on a card, go to see that show, because they are fantastic to see. And yeah, well, like I say, just watch, look out. If you are in a town that has a local wrestling promotion, go to that local wrestling promotion, give them your money, enjoy the shows, because you will. I promise you will enjoy their shows. Anyway, this is the Wrestling Ramblings part 2 to episode 1, kind of, and I am the Wrestling Superfan Terry Speller. Thank you for listening, and thank you for the views and listening to the first show. I hope you carry on, and I hope you enjoy this too. All the best, and speak to you again in episode